පොදුරාජ්‍ය මණ්ඩලයේ රාජ්‍යනායක සමුළුව පසුගිය ඉරිදා අවසන් වුණා. එහිදී වැඩි අවධානයක් යොමු වුණේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ මානව හිමිකම් ක්ෂේත්‍රය පිළිබඳවයි. CNN නාලිකාව සමග පැවති සාකච්ඡාවකට එක් වූ බ්‍රිතාන්‍යයේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා මහ කොමසාරිස් ක්‍රිස් නොනිස් මහතා පළ කළ අදහස් මේ.
Dr. Kris Nonis is Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, and he joined me earlier from Colombo. Excellency, thank you for joining the program tonight. The first question, of course, is, are you surprised at the amount of criticism of your country holding this Commonwealth Summit that we're hearing internationally?
No, I think that what you have to understand is the context. We've had a 28-year conflict with terrorists, and finally, after 28 years, we achieved peace in the country under the leadership of His Excellency President Mahinda Rajapaksa, and finally everyone's free of the autocracy and hegemony of terrorism. But one has to understand that there's a tremendous influence from those who funded the terrorist conflict, who are now carrying out really a proxy propaganda war. So no, it's not surprising at all that the proxy propaganda war is continuing, but certainly what we realize is that over the years, as people realize the wonderful reconciliation, rehabilitation and reconstruction program that we are carrying out in Sri Lanka, that gradually that proxy propaganda war will lose its currency.
But of course, the big concern remains the fact that there still is a long way to go as far as reconciliation is concerned. And of course, the biggest concern there is the fact that there are still these allegations out there of alleged war crimes in the dying hours of the campaign to oust the Tamil Tigers. There's talk of indiscriminate shelling of no fire zone. There's talk of executions. Why not address all of that? Why not put all of that to rest by starting an independent international investigation into everything?
Because we respect the independence and sovereignty of your country, and we expect you to respect ours. We don't need an international investigation when we have had a vibrant civilization for 2,500 years. We have perfectly educated people, and I think we're perfectly capable of carrying out our own domestic inquiry. And that is precisely what we're doing. If you look at the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission, it's a very holistic, very comprehensive, very impartial report. And actually, if you do come to Sri Lanka, you'll find that we've made enormous progress. I mean, let's look how we've been after the end of the conflict of May 2009. You know, the A9 was opened. We removed the emergency regulations. We had 297,000 people.
But sir, and I don't think anybody is doubting. I don't think anybody is doubting the fact that there has been progress since the end of the Civil War. But there still is a lot of reconciliation that needs to be done, and there certainly can't be full reconciliation if there is not justice. And there are many people among the Tamil community in your country who say that justice has not been done, that their rights are still being fundamentally infringed upon, and that there is the need for a broader investigation into what happened in 2009. There's a lot of video out there. There's a lot of evidence out there. Why are you not looking into that more, especially in light of the fact that you have the summit there right now where you could adopt further measures?
The Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission, it is important for you to understand, is not based on the principle of punitive justice, where you punish people. It is based on the principle of restorative justice, where each one gets an opportunity to be able to hear what went on, whether the victims or the perpetrators, and that's the essence of the LLRC, and it's the similar report and the similar principle behind the TRC of South Africa.
It is also important to bring all the facts on the table and to look at exactly what happened during the end of that conflict, isn't it? I mean, you will agree that it is fundamentally important for the people who were affected by all this, for the community who were affected by all this, to understand what exactly happened there.
It is very important, but as I say, the whole fundamental principle of the LLRC is restorative as opposed to punitive justice. That's number one. The second point I'd like to take you up on, which you mentioned earlier, where you said a substantial amount of the people who were affected still say there's no justice. That's manifestly untrue. It is important to realize that the majority of the opprobrium, the vitriolic diatribe that we have encountered over the last 4 years comes from a small group of people, but it happens to be the same group, the same institutions. And if you really look at who they are, they're either people behind them who funded terrorism, who made it funding of terrorism as a business. That business has now ended. So this issue, it is very important to understand that this very vitriolic diatribe that we sometimes hear is predominantly coming from a small segment of the diaspora communities and a small segment of people, of funded institutions, who have their own collateral agendas.
Well, sir, you say that the people who are criticizing you are a small minority in the diaspora, but there are also those heads of government who are simply not attending this summit because it is in your country. You have the Prime Minister of India, you have the Prime Minister of Canada, you have the Prime Minister of Britain, who was very critical, who says in a bilateral meeting he's going to bring all these issues up. You have William Hague of Britain, who said that clearly there were crimes committed in 2009 and all of this has to be dealt with.
Well, the three countries you mention, curiously, what you have to look at is where is our diaspora largest, wealthiest, and strongest. And the three countries you mentioned happen to be in the top 5. There's your answer. Just look at it. Each country, each leader has their domestic political considerations. We understand that. After all, they're politicians. We understand that each country has their domestic electoral compulsions. We're a vibrant democracy, and we cherish the principles of democracy and development, the twin pillars of the Commonwealth.
If you're telling me that you cherish the principles of democracy, then I'm sure that you also cherish the principles of free speech, for is it? Why is it that journalists that are coming to your country are being heckled when they try to visit, for instance, the North? You have a team from the British broadcaster ITN who was prevented from going into the North on a train because of demonstrators that show up. Apparently demonstrators showing up everywhere where this crew goes. You have Sri Lankan journalists that are also running into issues. You're saying people need to visit the country and need to check out how great things really are. Why are they being held back?
I don't think anyone's holding anyone back. The point you're trying to make is that people are protesting against other people. That is precisely what happens when different people go to your country. Even some of our leaders have been heckled time and time again. Why? The response we are given is the response you gave, is that you are a vibrant democracy. And that's the response, sir, I'm giving back to you. It is because we're a vibrant democracy, it is precisely because we believe in free speech, that we encourage divergent opinion. And I think you should respect that.
Thank you very much for joining the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.